All right, welcome back to episode 2 of my little number system. Today, I'm going to show you how I use this to line up the kids in the classroom, get them wherever they need to go, and basically keep me sane at the end of the day. I think everybody's had the frustration is when it's time to line up, if you don't have a good system, the students make up their own system. And that usually ends up with you being annoyed. And that's a horrible way to end your day. That's always my goal is I always want to start the day positively and I want to end the day on a positive note. I think that's our job at the beginning and end. I also want to cover the fact that all the things I'm going to try to share in this little number system series are free. I mean, today's video cost a roll of painter's tape, a permanent marker, and a pair of scissors. I'm pretty sure you all have those laying around someplace. I know, at least in my classroom, I always do. So what we're going to do is, I just want to break it down for you. Usually all the kids have, now we've numbered all the kids. And I'm going to say this again, like I usually don't put the numbers, I don't make the kids memorize the numbers until after the 30th count because too many things can change. After the 30th count, whatever number the kids are, that's the number they are. And that's when you start the 10B, 14C, whatever you need to do to add on numbers. But I wait till after the 30th count. And then once those are the real numbers, then the whole system's locked. Just to touch on that. So what you're going to do is take your painter's tape. I found the easiest way to do it is to rip off, I don't know, about that much. You want to not make it so small it's hard to read, but not make it so big it stands out on the floor. I usually put these in the top right corner of each square. I teach 5th grade, so those kids are bigger. So I space them out 1.5 squares to 2 squares, depending on how the class does together. And then I usually do every other block. So each square on the floor is a foot. That gives a foot in between the 2 rows, and everybody does it. So that's really it. So what you're going to do is put down there. I'm just going to write some numbers on it real fast. There's nothing fancy about this. There's nothing hard about this. It's I think painter's tape. If you had to buy painter's tape, I think it's $3. So it's going to look just like that. There's your numbers. And then I like things a certain way. So I'm sure you could just rip these off. I like to cut them so the lines look nice. That's how I do it. So I just there's your number. Go ahead and put it on the floor. Usually, in my experience, this is a great activity to begin building classroom culture. I've never had a year where students didn't volunteer to help. Like once they see you on the ground crawling around, they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just putting." They almost always volunteer to help. So that's huge. And I make sure I tell them exactly what I need and what I want, but it helps build classroom because I go to this a lot in the system. It gives them some agency. They're a part of the system. It's not something I'm imposing on them. They're helping to create and maintain it. Real fast, I know I don't do this personally, but I know a lot of teachers like to have like a designated line leader, or I guess they call it the caboose, the person at the end. That's not what I do, but I know a lot of people do it. So you might be asking, well, what do I do if I have all these kids numbered, if I want to do something like that? Well, it's super easy. Take the first square and label it caboose, or don't label it, just leave it blank. And that's where correction. Your line leader is the first square, and your last one would be the caboose. So just label it caboose, label it line leader. Probably need a bigger piece of tape, but that's okay. And then leave those blank. And whoever fills in that position, whatever number they are, that spot will remain blank for the day. And that way it still works with your system. It doesn't require, well, I guess it requires the extra effort of tearing off 2 more pieces of tape. If you can handle that, I think you should do it. And then it's going to work out well for you. Just give like a quick layout. That's not going to work. Too much reflection. I will do a quick overview where it'll be easier to read. Okay, I hope this is a little bit easier for you to see. So just a real fast drawing. Here's the desks. I just put mine in rows like this. Here's my door. My thing, usually this is where I am located. So anyway, like there's usually, obviously my room has tiles everywhere. So I just put 1 piece of tape, skip, so on and so forth as we go down. I usually give a block in between each kid and then just go right down again. The way my room setup is, I can actually do 3 on this side. It's a little bit easier. So this works. So I think any grade you're in, as long as you have a floor, it works. Sometimes I've had larger classes with 32 students where I couldn't put them all in a row. So sometimes I do like a side row off to one edge or off to the other edge. It works out fantastic. Here's the best part. End of the day, when it seems like that's my hardest part of the day, is the end of the day, because everybody's ready to go. Our school dismisses, car riders, walkers, bussers. I have them all seated, doing our little end of the day conversations. And then when it's time for car riders, all right, car riders, get to your spots, and all the car riders go and just stand on whatever random number they are. It's something you build in from day one. And then when it's time for the walkers, they go stand on their little numbers. And when it's time for the bussers, they stand on whatever numbers they are, or at least they stand on, there's always a system. I'm not gonna lie, it's not always perfect at the end of the day, but they're on a square. That's what I'm looking for. Lunch line. The first couple of weeks of school, when you're going to lunch, most people just put their kids in alphabetical or line order number when they go to their tables. They're already lined up for you. They're already there. They're already in line order. So you walk them down to the cafeteria, you put them on the tables. Most school tables hold 3 to 4 per table, and you just, right there they go. And the kids actually, I think they just want to know what's expected. So again, the numbering system's all about that, giving the kids control of what they can control. They know what to look for, what's going to happen, and what I expect each day. It's not a big task. It's just lining up on a number. But when you do it every single day, for every time you leave the room or every time you transition, it's really effective. And I guess I'll cover this too. If you have, we went back to, if new students come, what do you do? Well, I'm not going to relabel the whole floor. So I guess that's the one hiccup in the system. I will put that number wherever it fits in comfortably in the classroom. So if I'll just put it towards the end, or if there's a blank space on one of the sides, I'll put it there. It's for how much benefit it does. Now, if you want to relabel your whole floor, okay, well, you can do that for sure. Once I've gotten down, I've crawled around the floor, I'm done for the year. I'm not relabeling it. And the painter's tape, it stays for me for a year. And if you have a hard time with that, sometimes I'll cheat and I'll use electrical tape. But just make sure you have to get the colored ones, because your marker is not going to show up on black electrical tape. So I get the white ones and put it down on the floor, or orange, depends on what I have on hand. So yeah, that's the second way I use the number system, is for getting the kids in and out of the room, organizing transitions, organizing dismissals. And the only time it hasn't worked is picture day, because picture day is by height. So my number system fails on by height, unless miraculously your students are alphabetically and short to tall. So hope this helps. Again, I find it really useful. It takes a little bit of stress every day. I guess that's the key, at least for me, is how do you end on a positive note with the students? If the end of your day looks like kids yelling and not organized and doing whatever, try this. Because when they know what's expected, it's been my experience, they just do better. You take away the anxiety of what's going to happen today. They always know, for me, anytime we go someplace, they go on a number. Anytime we dismiss, they go on a number. So the more unknowns that I can eliminate from a kid's day, I find it's better. And I find it helps to build the relationship and build trust and build safety, and just give a kid who maybe doesn't do well with change all the time, parts of their day they know, yep, this is what we're doing in Mr. Webster's class. This is what it is. Here we go. And that starts day one. Again, so I like to explain a lot more things to the system. I'm going to keep doing little videos. I hope somebody finds them helpful. And to get everything I'm going to teach or try to explain in this here, or just show what's worked for me, it's all free. Like, nothing I'm going to show you do you have to go out and buy something, except for maybe painter's tape. I hope you have some, but if not, that's your big cost for this system. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.